Hello my dear students, welcome back to the special class, that is the CBSE class 9, and today we discuss the very interesting chapter and very important chapter for your daily life also, that is the why do you feel ill. That is the most important topic because that is related to your life, right? Also it is very important to your class. This chapter is very important in the CBSE class 9. So what is the health and what we are feel some illness and why some disease are happening, what is the causative agent, why the disease are caused, all these things we discuss in that particular chapter, and what is the different preventive measures which will be must be taken from preventive to these diseases. That is, we discuss this in that particular session. Now at first we discussed that is the what is the mean by the health. Now what is the health? Health ultimately is generally means from the free from illness. If you have suffered some illness, that time your health is not so good. Another way, disease, injuries or pain, also if your body is ultimately free from disease, free from injuries and free from any type of pain or lack of physical fitness, that time you are called you are healthy. So you can easily define this thing. The health is a general means free from illness, free from disease, free from injuries or pain or lack of physical fitness. That is the general and common definition of the health. But WHO, World Health Organization, they given a particular definition of the health, that is, health can be defined as the state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. So when you are totally very comfortable for your physical part, for your mental part and for your social well-beings, that time you are called you are the healthy. So all the students are must be follow the different rules or different procedure to be a fit, to be a healthy person. But what is the different type of procedure which is must be follow in not only the student, in every person should be followed this type of rules. Now we discuss this type of some rules is there. So the factor which is achieves the good health. So how we achieve the good health? Because without health anything is not important, right? So health is the first priority in your life. Number one, food. Balanced food must be taken. You already know it. Another way, that is the wash your hand or some personal hygiene must be taken in daily life. It is the another step for achieving the good health. Another way, that is the most important, the exercise. In every day you must give taken some time to doing some exercise, free hand exercise, but that is also important. Another way that is must be important, that is the meditation. Because when your mind is ultimately very cool, mind is concentrated, that time any work done very easily. But your mind is not so concentrated, that time you do not doing any jobs, right? So meditation, that means the controlling your mind, concentrate a particular things, that is a very important step. So that is the four important pillar by which you achieve your good health, right? So number one, that is the food and diet. Always you take the balanced diet and healthy diet and do not take any fast food, right? Another one, the exercise is very important in everyday life. In every day you must doing some exercise. Another one, that is the family and friends. You must spend some time with your friends, with your family to achieve a very healthy life. Because you know you in your teenagers time, maximum student or maximum person, they are spend their time in their mobiles or like TVs, but that is not good for their health. After sometimes they are frustrated, they ultimately feel some different type of problems. Most important reason it is that means they do not spend the time with their family and their friends, right? Another one, that means the sleep. A sleeping time, that means the 6 to 7 hours minimum sleeping hours is the most important, because in the sleeping time your body is like the recharged, right? So sleeping is a very important another step to achieving the good health. Another way, that is a stress management. Why you are ultimately take some stress in your education or your daily life? Because this stress is very strongly harm in your life. So if you work anything which is the stress free, right? So I tell you always that if you are doing some education or taking some education or learning something, so that time you enjoy this thing, right? That time it is stressful, and if you are stressful, that time it is helpful to your habit and it is ultimately help your life. Otherwise you doing some jobs with that stress, that time it is maybe you are successful for your education, but your daily life or normal life must be hampered. That is not so good, right? Another way, so all this is the very important, not a single one. If you are follow all this type of rules, the exercise, family and friends, sleep and stretch management and diet and balanced diet, so your health is now the very good. So you try it, otherwise you learn it. If you are learn this thing, you do not apply your life, that is not helpful, right? So you must apply all this thing in your daily life. That time the aim of the education are completed, right? Clear? Okay. Now some important characteristics of the persons having the good health. Number one, free from sickness and the disease, that is important. Free from unnecessary anxiety. You see that some students or some guardians have some anxiety. They are tense all of these things, right? That is not important, right? It is realize this thing that anxieties harm your life. Another one, free from social and psychological tension. Why you are take this type of tension? Because this type of tension harm your life, harm your body, harm your mental condition. So if you are do not take any type of action which is keep some psychological and social tension. Another one, self-confidence, that you do it, you can do it in all these things, right? It is belief in your mind. That time all these jobs, all the action must be very easy. So you must be self-confident in all this type of work, right? So self-confidence is a very important step. Another one, ultimately feeling of the joy in the living. So every moment is very important, and every moment, from that every moment you can enjoy this thing. That is a very important. So your life is very healthy, your life is very nice, your life is very good. If you are enjoy the every moment, what you are doing? Like you are cooking, you are reading, you are walking, you are playing. All this thing is very important, and you enjoy this thing. That time is very important. It is very much helpful to your good health. Another one, ability to work efficiently and at its the best. It is very much applicable in your education. When you are learn something, that time you are giving the best in your exam, best in your daily life. That time it is very important and it is must be reflected in your daily life. So there is a different characteristic features the persons having the good health. If all these characteristics present in someone, that time they are very happy in their life, right? So that is very important. You bear in mind, not for your exam but also for your daily life, for your happy life. Am I right? Now, health and its ultimately the failure. Number one, health is a state of physical, mental and the social well-being. That is the most important. The three things is there which is very important to achieving the health. That is, we already know it, right? But importance of the good health. What is the importance? Number one, good physical and social environment, good economic condition, social equality and the harmony. That is the importance for the good health. You bear in mind. Good physical social environment, good economic condition and the social equality and the harmony is a very important steps which is very much necessary to ensure your good health. But a very important term is there, that is what is the difference between the healthy and the disease free? What is the difference between them? Sometimes you are called that as you are disease free, you have no disease, that time you are healthy. So what is the difference? Number one, healthy, that means it is the state of the physical, mental and the social well-beings. On the other hand, the disease free, that means it is a state of absent from of disease. That time you have no disease, any type of disease you have not. That time you are called you were the disease free. Another one, it refers to the individual's physical and social environment. On the other hand, disease free means it refers only to its the individuals. It is called for individual's case. Now, the individual has good health, but in the disease free, the individual may have the good health or poor health. Maybe it is there. They are spread through the some agencies such as air, food, contact or insect. They do not spread through the any agency. That means the health condition, right? Health, it is do not ultimately spread that time, and disease free, that time it is not spread from one person to another person. Now disease and its cause. So now we are discuss the what is the mean by the disease and what is the different cause behind it, right? Number one, the disease. When a person is affected by a disease, either the normal functioning or the appearance of one or more system of the body changes for its own. Your body have the different system, you have the different organs. When your organs or system do not work properly, that time you are suffer some disease. Like one, these changes give rise to sign of the disease called the symptoms. When your organ do not work properly, like your digestive system do not work properly, your small intestine, it does not work properly, large intestine work not properly, that time it gives some symptoms like the loose motion is there, right? So this is the symptoms. When the diseases are happening, that time they are affecting your organs. Organs do not work properly, so they given the symptoms. On the basis of the symptoms, the physicians look for the sign of the particular disease and conduct the test to confirm the disease. So at first, the physician, that means the doctors, they observe what type of symptoms are showing. that time they are assumed that the diseases are happening, this type of disease are there. But after assuming, they give some test. When you are doing this type of test, you are confirmed that this type of disease are happening. This is the important different steps. Type of disease. Number 1, acquired disease. Number 2, the chronic disease. Number 3, non-infectious, that means the non-communicable disease. Another one, the infectious, that means the communicable disease. So that is the different categories of the disease. Number 1, the acquired disease. What is the mean by the acquired disease? Disease which lasts only for a short period of time and does not have a long-term effect on the health. Example, like cough and cold or the common cold. That time you are suffer only 3 or 4 days, you suffered this type of disease, and your body after that they are very well, they do not give any symptoms. So the disease and their effect very short period. Sometimes in that particular type of disease you do not take any medicines also. So this is the acquired disease. Second one, common cold, that means that fever, some chills, some tiredness is there, but after the 3 or 4 days when you are take some rest, that time all these problems can be solved. Now we are ultimately discuss some most common disease that is very harmful to your health, like the typhoid. Typhoid, this type of disease are mode of transmission. That means this disease are transmitted by the water or by the food, and the causative agent which cause the typhoid, which is the Salmonella typhi. So what is the common symptoms of the typhoid? Loss of appetite, fever, nausea, vomiting, or abdominal cramps or abdominal pains is some common symptoms of this disease, typhoid. Now you are discuss some chronic disease. Disease which lasts for a long time and has a long term, ultimately drastic effect of your health. Example, like the elephantiasis, you can observe this thing in the picture. This is very dangerous for your health. And this type of disease maybe not cured completely, and it is affect, and their effect is ultimately lasting a very long time. Like the tuberculosis, also the one example of the this type of chronic disease, when the tuberculosis may be completed. That means tuberculosis are the bacterium, mycobacterium tuberculosis are completely removed from your body by the apply some antibiotics, but their effect, that means your lungs are ultimately damaged for a long time. So it is the chronic type of disease. Skin cancer also be the another type of chronic disease. Now we are discuss the most important terms, that is the infectious or the communicable disease. Communicable means disease which is spread from infected person to healthy person through the air, through the water, through the food, through some vectors, to physical contact or the sexual contact. That means the disease which is transferred from one person to another person. That time it is called the communicable disease. And COVID-19, this is also the communicable disease, because that disease has spread from one person to another person. If the COVID-19, this disease is not communicable, that time they have no problems, right? Now the total world is suffer from this disease are very harmfully, because these diseases are communicable, because these diseases are spread from one person to another person. Another type of disease also is there, which is the communicable. That means the common cold, the chicken pox, the measles, typhoid, cholera, tuberculosis, malaria and the AIDS. All these diseases can spread from one person to another person. That time it is called the communicable disease. Non-infectious or non-communicable disease. That means this disease are not spread from one person to another person. When one person has suffered from this disease, they are only present in that particular person. They are not spread from one person to another. Example like the beriberi, rickets, scurvy, night blindness, diabetes, cancer or high BP. Because this type of disease may be the deficiency of some vitamins, it is happening only one person. When someone do not take the sufficient amount of all these vitamins, like you do not take the sufficient amount of vitamin C, that time you are suffer. One common example, that is the beriberi, like the scurvy, right? But you only suffer from this disease. Your parents, your friends, they do not suffer from this disease. Clear? This type of disease do not spread from one person to another person. Now, what is the different cause of the disease? Why the disease are happening? To the infection of the different agent. Pathogens. What is mean the pathogens? The microorganism or the agent which can cause the disease, that is called the pathogens. Example like virus, bacteria, fungi, protozoans and the worms. That is some agent which is cause the disease. So the pathogens is the most important which can cause the disease. But another some way also be there which can cause the disease also, like some genetical disease or genetical disorder. Another one, the environmental pollution, malfunctioning of the body parts, poor health and under the nourishment. So number one, the infectious disease, the disease which spread from one person to another easily are called the infectious disease. And the pathogens, the organism which cause the disease, that is called the pathogens. Next one, the vectors. All this type of definition is very important. So after our class is finished, so all of these things which is I tell you in that class, all these things you write down in your notebook, all the slides. Clear? Understand this thing? All of the student must be write all the total information on your notebook, on your copy. Another question, that is the vector. Vector, the organism which spread the disease, like the mosquito, like the flies, it is the vector. Vector are not affected by this organism, but they only transfer this disease one person to another. The example like the flies, like example mosquitoes. Some infectious agent and some cause the disease. Number one, the virus, common cold, the influenza, measles, mumps, chicken pox, AIDS, hepatitis B, all are the viral disease, because the virus are the main causative agent for that particular disease. Another one is a bacterial disease. That means the bacteria can cause the disease, like the cholera, Vibrio cholerae is the causative agents, typhoid, tuberculosis, tetanus, anthrax and food poisoning is a bacterial disease. Fungi, like the skin infection, like the ringworm disease is ultimately happening to the infection of the fungus. Another one is a protozoan disease. The protozoan can cause the disease, like the malaria. The protozoans, you know the name of the protozoans which cause the malaria? That is the Plasmodium vivax. Another one, calazor, amoebic dysentery and the sleeping sickness is some common protozoan disease. Another one, the worms. right? Some worms also cause the disease like the intestinal infection and elephantiasis. Wucheria bancraptri is the worm's name. On the intestinal infection, some tapeworm also cause this type of infection. So that is a different infectious agent and they cause some disease. Non-infectious disease, that means this disease which do not spread from one person to another, it called the non-infectious, non-communicable. Clear? Example, like the deficiencies of disease, like cause of deficiency of nutrient and hormones, that time it is the deficiency disease, that is the non-communicable disease. Example, like diabetes, like the scurvy. Diabetes, the deficiency of insulin hormone. Scurvy from the deficiency of vitamin C. Another one, the allergic, right? When your body is hypersensitive to a foreign particles or foreign elements, that time it is called the allergy. Example, like the asthma. Cancer, that is the uncontrolled growth of the certain tissues. This is also the non-communicable. Another one is a mental disorder like the anxiety or the depression. This is also with the non-communicable. Another one is the addiction, like someone are addicted in the drugs or alcohol. Also it is the one type of disease, so it is also with the non-communicable. Another one is the degenerative. That means the malfunctioning of the important organ, your heart, your lungs do not work properly. That time it is called the degenerative type of disease. Right? So this is some types which is the non-communicable, that means not spread from one person to another person. So infectious disease like the virus, COVID-19, that coronavirus, also the virus which cause the disease also, the viral disease. You well know this disease now. Ringworm, this is a fungal disease. Bacteria also some cause the disease like the staphylococcus bacteria cause the acne in your face. Protozoans like the black fever or calazor. Ascaris, the roundworm, they can cause the disease. So what is the means of the spread of disease? That how the disease are spread from one person to another person? What is the different agents is there? Number one, through the air. Not the all diseases are spread by the air. Only some diseases there, like example, like common cold, tuberculosis or pneumonia, which is spread one person to another person by the air. On the other hand, through the water, the cholera, amoeba, dysentery are transferred by the means of water. Through the vectors, mosquito, they are caused or the different disease like the malaria, dengue and the yellow fever, and the flies, they cause the typhoid, tuberculosis, diarrhea and the dysentery type of disease. Through the sexual contact, the different diseases are also happening like the AIDS and syphilis. You know the AIDS, the causative agents of the AIDS is HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, which can transfer by the spread through the blood transfusion from infected mother to her body, her baby. Another year is the through the sexual contact also. So this is the different parts, and you ultimately know that AIDS is not ultimately contagious disease and it does not spread by the casual contact. Like you are touch any HIV person or AIDS person, that time disease is not spread. Or the shaking hands or coughing and sneezing, kissing or embracing, sharing the urinals and the swimming pools and the sharing towels, blood sucking insect and crowded transport, it is do not transport the AIDS disease. Animal and people, also some disease can be spread by this type of animals. Like wash your hands after the petting animals or touching any surface, they come into contact with it. So organ specific, some and tissue specific manifestation, that means Disease causing microbes enter the body by the different means and goes to different organs and tissues. Like the tuberculosis bacteria that is ultimately get by your nose and they ultimately spread in your lungs. That is their origin, where the tuberculosis bacteria are grow on that particular organ. So the different virus, different protozoans, they have the particular organs. Like the HIV virus, they ultimately kill in your T lymphocytes. So your immunity power are very weak, right? So principle of treatment. So what is the different treatment? Number one, the treatment of infectious disease are ultimately two steps. Number one, to reduce the effect of the disease, that means the symptoms must be reduced. To kill the microbes which cause the disease, that is a two different way how you are prevent any type of infectious disease. To reduce the effect of the disease, this can be done by the taking of medicines to bring down the effect of the disease. Another one, to kill the microbes, you must be taking some suitable antibiotics or drugs which kill that particular type of microbes. So the principle of prevention, there are the two ultimately preventive measures you must be taken to avoid the disease. Number one, in general way. Number two, the specific way. In the general way, public hygiene is the most important to prevent the infectious disease. Proper and sufficient food in everyone. Airborne disease can be prevented by the living in condition that is not crowded. You must be taking wear some marks on it in your mouth. Waterborne disease can be prevented by providing the safe drinking water. If you boil the drinking water, that time of waterborne disease is not spread. Vector-borne disease can be prevented by providing the clean environment. If the mosquito is not grow, that time the malaria disease also will not spread so greatly. On the other hand, specific way of the prevention, that means it is a specific way to prevent the infection of the disease. Number one, vaccination and the immunity. Vaccination provides the immunity from the infectious disease like the tetanus, like the diphtheria, the whooping cough. So in the specific way, if you ultimately increase your immunity power, that time you do not suffer some disease. On the other hand, if you take some vaccine for a particular disease, that time this type of disease are not happening in your body. So our body has an immune system. What is the mean by the immune system? Which fights the microbial infection. When this system first see the infectious microbes to kill the microbes and remember it. So again, second time when the infection occur, that time your body have some antibodies. Antibodies like this a soldier, they ultimately attack on the infectious agent and kill the infectious agent. So that is your immunity. In your body have some special cell like the B cell, like the T cell have to take the very important role. So thank you ultimately for your attention in the whole class, and you are learned a very important topic in our today's session. I think that chapter is very important, right? Am I right? So all of the students are requested to note down all the things in your copy, right? So thank you very much all of you, and thank you and wish you the best of luck.